I was reading today the Sefer, and the first Pesukim, and it's unbelievable how everything is Ashgaha Peratit. The Pasuk writes, Ki tisa et rosh bnei Yisrael lifkudeim, when you will count Am Yisrael, v'natenu ish kofer nafsho la'Hashem mifkod otam. Every single one will have to give ish kofer nafsho, a certain amount of money. Mifkod otam. That's the famous Machatzit Shekel that we read also in Shabbat Parashat Shekalim. And then the Pasuk writes, Velo yeh bahem negef mifkod otam. There will not be any type of magifa, any type of plague, pandemic. Velo yeh bahem negef mifkod otam. There will not be any type of plagues, no type of sicknesses when Am Yisrael will be counted. And Chachamim are saying that whoever is putting his effort at the moment of tzarot, to give tzedakah, to give money and to help other people, automatically is being protected from all type of epidemics. I want to tell you, it's written, Ki tisa et rosh bnei Yisrael. What's Ki tisa? You will lift up the rosh, the head of Bnei Yisrael. Why? By giving the tzedakah and this type of money. It's called Ki tisa et rosh bnei Yisrael. Say, Ki tifkod, whenever you will count Am Yisrael, then they have to give the money. Why it's Ki tisa? When they will leave their head. So I saw a chidush that says like this. He's giving a mashal. If there is a man, chaz v'shalom, that is in the water, and he's trying to swim, but it's it's not an easy moment to swim. Every second that the head is still above the water, it will leave. At the moment that the head will start going down, there is danger of life. Ki tisa et rosh bnei Yisrael lifkudeim. For us, we have an obligation to lift up our face, our head. What do you mean to lift up our head? Say Chachamim, the same way the water represents parnasa. Like the Gemara writes, Kashem mezonot shel adam, the mezonot, the parnasa of the person is compared to kriyat yam suf, like the water. If a person is going to lift up his head above the parnasa problem, above the tzarot that we're having around us, and you're going to be able to lift up your head, you're going to be fine. But if you're going to be drowning down with all the problems that are going around us, then chaz v'shalom, there is no too much to do. Rabbi, now that we're having so many panic around the world, mamash panic, it's the panic our part of the mitzvah. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants from us, to get into panic. I was telling over two people that only last night in New York, in the regular supermarket, I'm talking about midnight, hundreds of Jews left their homes and they went to supermarkets. Why? They heard a voice note of one of the owners of a big supermarket, kosher supermarket, that he said, Rabotai, please go and buy water. It's not going to be enough water. Only hearing that, and I have the pictures, only hearing that, you had the whole entire community leaving their homes and going to the supermarkets. Rabotai, I'm not saying that we should be sitting down and doing nothing. We have the obligation to do our hishtadlut. And hishtadlut, it's called a regular effort. But going above that, it's already a monk of emunah. The concept of emunah and hishtadlut, it's very fine, that line. To know until here, it's the normal way to do. Above that, it's already going too much. So here says the Pasuk, Ki tisa et rosh bnei Yisrael. You want to have this salvation? Lift up your head. When you lift the head, what do you look? What do you look? Ab shamayim. When you lift up your head and you stop being worried on whatever is going around us, but you trust and you believe on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then velo yeh bahem nekef bifkod otam. Then there will be no plague, no epidemics, no nothing. But we must have this type of emunah. I want to tell you that I saw a beautiful chidush this coming up Shabbat, we're going to be reading in the Haftarah the following pasuk. The pasuk writes, "Va'asiroti et lev ha'even mibasarchem, v'natati lachem lev basar." Meaning, I will take out the heart of stone that you have, and I will put instead of it a heart of basar, of the heart of basar. Basar, it's meat, regular, a good heart. This Haftarah is talking about the Geulah, the final redemption. Says the Navi, the Borei Olam is going to take away that heart that we have. Sometimes our heart is like a stone. We don't get connected. We don't get into feelings. He's going to take that away, and He's going to put a good heart in our body. The Seich HaChamim is so beautiful chidush in the name of Rabbi Abraham Katz that he says, Rabotai, before Mashiach's arrival, there are going to be challenges of emunah. That's how he writes. And he says, and sometimes we must have a heart of stone. We must put our heart as a stone. Stop being worried too much. Stop being thinking about all the problems. I just spoke last night with somebody. He told me, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I don't stop thinking what's going to be, and if the kids are not going to have any more school, and what if they close up the supermarkets? I say, Ya Habibi, you're going too much. Sometimes we must put our heart like a stone. Only when Mashiach will come, only after the problems will be solved, then Borei Olam is telling us, I will take away that heart of stone that He put, and now I can put a real heart inside your body. But Rabotai, there was a story about a rabbi. His name was Rabbi Chaim Mikrasna. This rabbi, just to understand, all his life, he barely went out from his room. He was sitting down and learning Torah Yomam V'Layla. Going to shul, going back, eating, learning. This rabbi used to live in Europe back then. And one day, there was a goy that came to the city where the rabbi was living. And he wanted to make some money. So what was part of his idea? He came with something new. There was a river in that city. He put a robe from one side of the river to the other side of the river. And he said to the people, guys, I'm going to do a show. I'm going to pass on top of that robe. I'm going to walk on it without falling. Obviously, I charged for the entrance, for the show, and he started to charge. What can I tell you? The whole entire city came to see Meshuga, this guy. But it's interesting, something attractive. All of the people were coming, and then who appears over there also? The rabbi. You see the rabbi watching how the goy is getting prepared to cross the robe and the guy walks, and he's walking on the robe, and everybody saw, in any second the guy can fall. Halas. And the guy is walking and walking very careful every single step, and he crossed the whole entire river from one side to another. They finished. And now, everybody was going back home, and also the rabbi. Then one of the students of the rabbi saw the rabbi. He jumped to him. Chacham, Maze. You that you don't waste a minute in your life. You that all your life you're dedicating for learning the Torah. Now you're going to come here to watch a goy crossing the river in a robe. And then he said, I want to tell you why I came. When I heard that, I said, I must see it. To take musar to myself. What's the musar? Unbelievable. He said, this man, to be able to cross the river, you have to be very concentrated. Right? Concentrating what? In stepping in the right place, not putting too much of a weight from one side or to another side. You have to be 100% concentrated, even not to hear anybody. What if this guy, in the middle of crossing the rope, he will think about all the money that he's making? All the money that he's getting from, what's going to happen? The guy is going to lose his focus and it's going to fall. Lose his balance. He says, now I understood what's our avodat Hashem in our lives. We have our obligation to go for parnasah. We have our obligation to go for whatever it's needed. Hishtadlut, we have to. But don't forget what's the focus. Don't forget what is the goal. My goal is avodat Hashem. Not to start by having my head inside the problems, inside the issues. If you're going to have your head inside the issues, you're going to fall. You must be concentrate every single minute in life. Rabbi, I want to tell you something. There is a rabbi in Eretz Israel. His name is Rabbi. Last name is Cohen. Okay, Rabbi Cohen. This rabbi, not Rabbi Zamir Cohen, another one, Rabbi Igal Cohen. That's his name. Rabbi Igal Cohen, very famous speaker in Israel. And he said like this, and he spoke that a few weeks ago, when the whole coronavirus just started. And he says, Rabotai, if you're going to ask me if I'm worried about the corona, the answer is no. And he explained, obviously, whatever is happening, it's not stam. If it's happening, it's because there is gezerah, and that's why we must pray for it. And that's why every single moment that you have, I just spoke with Rabbi Galimidi, maybe we should do a special prayer, one of these days, special prayer for the situation that is going around. Obviously, we have the obligation to do tefillah. But then the rabbi said, but what's the problem that we're taking? What is the issue? The issue is that why we worry about, that we think, listen, if Chaz Shalom, the corona will hit one of my family members, or Chaz Shalom, what can happen? And if Bar Minan, somebody can die. The rabbi said, Habibi, the day that Borei Olam decided that a person will leave the world, that's the day, nothing is going to help. Not a minute after and not a minute before. Not because of corona and not because of something else. If the guy had to pass away, he's going to pass away even without the corona. Even if at the end of the day, this person passed away because of the virus, it wasn't the virus that killed him. It was his date that arrived. So to be worried about it, it's to be, not to think, not to know that everything is hashgacha peratit. But from here, we cannot say that there is no hishtadlut. The rabbi explained, even though I'm trusting on HaKadosh Baruch Hu that if I have to get something, I will get it. And if not, I will not get it. I cannot put myself in danger. What's danger? To follow up the rules of whatever they're telling us to do. If we're not supposed to, now in New York I heard, you should not go to a place over 100 people. In that place there is a question right now, what about the shuls? If to do small mininim or not to do small mininim. Whatever the rabbis, whatever the doctors, whatever the health, health administrator, they will say, we'll have to follow. But over that, you're passing from ishtadlut to a monk of emunah. And Rabotai, there is a small difference, says the Gemara. The Chachamim are saying, before Mashiach will come, the person will be challenged mostly in emunah. And just to understand, emunah is to understand that whatever will happen in our lives, there is a shgacha peratit on top of it. Stop being worried. Stop being in panic. Be happy. And only throughout the happiness Borei Olam will give to each one of us beracha and good news. Amen. Amen.